My name is Steven Swoda, and I am the Executive Artistic Director here at the RedHouse. So in that role, I plan all of our theater seasons, all of our concerts, everything that happens here, and then I'm also responsible for the administrative side of what we do. This particular productions of Baltimore Waltz and Wit, I am the director. These are two really unique shows. They are both by Pulitzer Prize winning female playwrights, and we're doing them in conjunction because Wit deals with a woman dealing with ovarian cancer, and Baltimore Waltz deals with a woman dealing with her brother dying of AIDS and the grief and loss of that. And we thought it would be really interesting to run these two shows in conjunction with each other to sort of compare and contrast the different places that cancer and AIDS live in our cultural zeitgeist.
Irony is a literary device that will necessarily be deployed. I ardently wish this were not so. I would prefer that a play about me be cast in the mythic, heroic, pastoral mode. But the facts, stage 4 metastatic ovarian cancer, conspire against that. The fairy queen, this is not.
The cool thing we're doing is it's not only the plays, but every night after the shows we have medical professionals, religious figures, health and human services organizations, counseling groups, support groups. They're all coming in and having this conversation post-show every night about what the plays talk about.
Like yourself, Dr. Kalikian.
Yes. Now then, you present with a growth that unfortunately went undetected in stages 1, 2, and 3. Now it is an insidious adenocarcinoma which is spread from the primary adnaxal mass.
Insidious?
Insidious means undetectable at an early stage.
Insidious means treacherous.
Most people, I think, are going to see Wit and think that's a safe play I've heard of. It was a movie, I can go see that. Most people will never have heard of the Baltimore Waltz, even though it's my favorite play. And so my hope is that we sample them with Wit and get them addicted and make them come back and try out the Baltimore Waltz.
They're both set on the same setting. They both take place in a hospital. But Baltimore Waltz is kind of a more fantastical spoof on AIDS, and Wit is a much more serious, dramatic story of a professor dealing with ovarian cancer.
Steady, steady. Oh God! Oh God! What's left? Haven't eaten in 4 days. What's left to puke? You may remark my vocabulary has taken a turn for the Anglo-Saxon. I'm gonna barf my brains out. If I actually did barf my brains out, it would be a great loss to my discipline.
Wit won a Pulitzer Prize. It's by Margaret Edson, and it is basically centers around Vivian Baring, who is an English professor of 17th century poetry, and she's been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And so it is her journey through chemotherapy, and it takes place in a hospital, and the staff that is around her. So it's really kind of a tour de force of this one character, and the other characters around her support her. Baltimore Waltz is fun because it moves so fast that you're like looking here, looking there, you're following it along. There's crazy characters, and the next second, you know, 1 second you're laughing and at the absurdity, and the next second it's breaking your heart with the kind of touching relationship between the brother and sister, and them learning about each other and about their mortality.
Some of the struggles of playing two different roles on two different nights, first of all, are just memorizing lines, but also stylistically, the two shows are so different. One is over the top and fantasy, and it all happens in her mind, so anything goes. So it's just bombastic, it's loud, it's crazy music. And the other one's much more rooted in reality, so stylistically you have to find the truth, and there's tears, and there's a much more grounded emotional place that you go to.
I wanted to challenge them. I wanted to make them do material that was slightly out of their wheelhouse, something new. But I also know that they're such great leaders, and so they step in and they elevate what's going on very simply just by their professional attitude and the way they carry themselves.
Ah, Susie.
Oh, hi.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
The hardest part is actually the technical process, because we are costuming and teching, and we're using tons of projection and lights in both shows, and so we're doing that right at the same time. You know, the afternoons are Baltimore Waltz tech rehearsals, and the evenings are WIT rehearsals. So our tech team is here from 9 a.m. till 3 a.m., you know, putting the shows together.
The audience will really enjoy laughing, and then 10 minutes later you find yourself crying. It's that total, you run the gamut of emotions between both shows. In the one where it's serious and rooted in reality, you find yourself laughing, because that's how people in real life deal with major issues and major drama, you know, major traumatic stress. But on the other hand, in the one that's fantasy, you also find yourself thinking, oh wait, this isn't funny, and things like this really do happen in real life. So I think it's the push and pull and tug of emotions. You're never quite sure what you're gonna get. And I think that keeps you on the edge of your chair, waiting to see what happens next.